Thank you. Chairman Smith, Ranking Member Neal, members of the House Committee on Ways and Means. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to highlight a critical priority for my constituents in the 4th Congressional District of New York. As members of the Chief Tax Writing Committee in Congress, you will play a major role in the upcoming reauthorization of the 2017 tax bill. Without a doubt, the single most urgent and important tax priority for my constituents on Long Island is the need to eliminate the cap and fully restore the state and local tax deduction. As you know, since the federal income tax was first established in 1913, Congress made state and local taxes deductible from federal income. They did so out of recognition that double taxation of Americans is simply unfair. The SALT deduction allowed the hard-working men and women I represent on Long Island, who pay some of the highest property taxes in the country, to reduce their federally taxable income by deducting the full amount that they pay in state income and local property taxes. This important bipartisan feature of the tax code stood the test of time for more than 100 years. As you know, the 2017 tax bill did away with this provision, gutting and capping the SALT deduction, and as a result, imposing double taxation on my constituents, some 11 million Americans who hit the cap, according to Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. By capping and scrapping the full SALT deduction, the 2017 tax bill has made life even more expensive for my constituents. Prior to the cap, nearly 50% of all the taxpayers in my district use the SALT deduction, with Nassau County residents deducting $26,259 on average, more than the double the current $10,000 cap. I've heard from countless hard-working families in my district over the past few years who've had to pay tens of thousands of dollars more in taxes, making their lives more expensive and adding to the cost of living crisis on Long Island. For example, a police officer and a teacher in my district, each making $120,000, paying about $7,000 in income taxes with $15,000 in property taxes, would have been able to deduct about $29,000 in state and local taxes. With the cap, they can now only deduct $10,000, so they lose about $19,000 that they were previously able to deduct. I'm committed to reversing the harmful SALT cap and cutting taxes for my constituents. This is a critical, common-sense concern in my district that affects hard-working, middle-class families. That is why in my first week in Congress, I sent a letter to the House and Senate leadership calling for the immediate bipartisan negotiations to reinstate the SALT deduction, the full SALT deduction. I know there is strong support for getting this done in the upcoming reconciliation package among many House Republicans and Democrats from New York and from many other states, as well as from President Trump. As we all know, he promised in my district to get SALT back. That is why I recently sat down with my colleagues in the bipartisan SALT caucus to discuss a path forward on reconciliation and our belief in the need to restore SALT for all of our constituents. Last week, I was also proud to join my Republican colleague, Representative Andrew Garbarino, and 20 co-sponsors on both sides of the aisle in introducing H.R. 430, the SALT Deductibility Act. I strongly urge the committee to swiftly consider this important bill to restore the full deduction that taxpayers had before and they still deserve. I will continue working across the aisle on good faith negotiations to deliver tax relief for Long Island. Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, thank you so much for the time today, for your work on this committee to help and serve the American people. I look forward to working with you and all our colleagues to help preserve SALT, lower taxes, and cut costs for the families that I'm honored to represent. Thank you.
Thank you. I now recognize Representative Erin Houchin, the gentlewoman from Indiana. Ms. Houchin is a small business owner, which makes her an incredible advocate for small businesses and working families in her district. In addition to serving on the Financial Services Committee, she is our House elected conference secretary.